Hi, this is Accidental Rebbitzin, and today I want to speak to you about mental illness. Yes, it is a painful topic, a sensitive topic, a topic we don't really like to talk about. It's embarrassing, it's not nice, it's uncomfortable, but we do have to speak about it. Why? Because we need to have awareness that mental illness is just a disease and an illness that people struggle with. It could be diabetes, it could be heart disease, it could be anything. It happens to be a mental illness. The person who has a mental illness didn't do anything wrong and didn't choose this challenge. And having a child myself with mental illness and having have gone through the most difficult and painful experience of visiting my child in a psychiatric ward, I can tell you that there's nothing so isolating, so hard, and so painful than having someone in your family with mental illness. Unfortunately, this is hitting me a few times, and I know how it feels, and I have been open with my close friends and tell them about it, which actually a friend from school, also has the same challenge with her son. And when he was hospitalized for the first time, I told her, listen, that is going to be the hardest thing for you to do in your own life, in your whole life. This is the hardest thing, going to visit your child in psychiatric ward. May Hashem never send us such challenging, only to our enemies. So I want to tell you that there was an evening last night in Baltimore that was organized to raise awareness of mental issues. And many times people that have mental problems are looked upon like second class or not into the group or somebody that we don't like to be around. And that creates a sense of isolation and stigmatizing the people that are already suffering, making their challenge so much harder. A letter was read from a girl that's 15 years old that exclaimed that she has such a hard time being always excluded from any activity. She can see on Snapchat that she's not invited to what the other girls in her class are doing. And she says that this isolation is so much more painful than the fact that she's dealing with a struggle as mental illness. And this is really unfair of us as a society to make the burden so much heavier for the people that have mental illness and those surrounding them. And here I want to explain that the rabbis yesterday, Rabbi Shapiro, Rabbi Ephraim Shapiro, and Dr. Norman Blumenthal were absolutely amazing speakers. And I found myself tearing a few times. It was so emotional and so beautiful. They read letters of people with mental illness describing what they're going through. And you can just read that or listen to that letter without feeling for them. And the message they were saying is that we should work on it, not to stigmatize them, not to make these jokes about crazy people. And the rabbi said, if you want to make jokes about crazy people, that's fine, but please go ahead and make jokes about people that have cancer. This is the same thing. It's a struggle and it's a challenge. And this is what Hashem sends upon this world for us to be united and to be there for one another. They also brought that out of the 10 makot in Egypt, the 10 plagues, being that the last, Makat Bechorot, is a separate kind of its own. But if you look at all the Makot, which one was the worst? So the rabbi are challenging one another, and one of the answers is that Makat Choshech, the dark, was the hardest plague of all. Why? Because they could not see one another and give each other a hug or wipe a tear. And all the other things, element, they could see one another and they could have this support of being there for one another, but choshech is just total loneliness. And the rabbis yesterday and doctor brought up to us that if there is anything we can do to open our heart, to open our door, to invite them maybe for a Shabbos meal, and I agree with you, it might not be the most pleasant Shabbos meal. I recently had a guest, and I just invited her from a forum we have for Baltimore people. I just don't know her. And she was a very unpleasant guest. I could see right away that she has a mental problem, but you know what? Why should it always be about me? Why does my comfort comes first? Why don't I make it sometime that it's about you, that it's about her? I was just going to shoot this and Someone sent me a message, Shani, I don't even know who she is. She's asking, can you give me a ride at 12 o'clock from here to the mechanic? I don't know who she is. And I wrote yes. And you know, when I close this video, I'm going to deal with it. And I'm sure it's just 10 minutes. But sometimes be there for the person, even 10 minutes or sharing a meal brings so much light. And this is what I want to tell you. The rabbi said, if we cannot do anything for that person, let's imagine or let's assume, at least there's one thing you can do. Pray for them. Pray for him. Pray for her. In the Siddur, we have the Amidah, which is the main prayer. The prayer where we stand in front of the king. We take 3 steps forward to get closer to Hashem the king, and we proceed with all the prayers and all the blessings of the Amidah. And Refa'enu, heal us, Hashem, is the 8th blessing. This is a blessing that includes 3 prior blessings, and number 8 is also not a coincidence that the 8th day is the bris, the circumcision. But inside this prayer, we have the possibility to add a few words and include the name of someone who is struggling with illness. Being mental or physical illness makes no difference at all. And the words are, may it be your will, Hashem, my God, and the God of my forefathers, that you quickly send a complete recovery from heaven, spiritual healing and physical healing to the patient. And here we say the name of the patient, son or daughter of, and the name of the mother among the other patients of Israel. And then when you see that person, tell them, I'm here for you. I've been praying for you. I keep you in my prayer, and give them the time of their life.